Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to NXT. Tonight, we're kicking us off with Andre Chase. We'll be accompanied out here with Thea Hale, the women's NXT North American champion. She'll be defending that championship against JC Jane. Their NXT deadline coming up next week. But tonight, Andre Chase, the university's own Andre Chase, he's in action against the NXT champion, Ethan Page. Now, Ethan Page, he has his own big-time championship defense next week live at NXT Deadline as he defends that championship against Santos Escobar. And for Ethan Page, I mean, certainly you saw how last week ended here on NXT with Ethan Page and Santos Escobar having an NXT brawl out in the parking lot area outside of the Performance Center. And you could definitely say they went back and forth, but ultimately Ethan Page would ultimately get the upper hand in that situation. And we'll see how banged up from that altercation Ethan Page will be tonight in this non-title matchup live here tonight to kick us off on NXT. And if you guys did not see the announcement over the social media page of WWE here, starting next week on the go home shows of Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, they will be considered super shows. So it means essentially it's 2 episodes combined into the go home episodes. So there's going to be big time matches on Raw, NXT, and SmackDown because that week that we get through, we'll have Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, but also you're going to have NXT Deadline and the Royal Rumble. And the question is, are we going to see any NXT talent? Could you see All Ego Ethan Page getting inside that Royal Rumble? Could you imagine? Could you see Andre Chase getting an opportunity? Do you see Thea Hale getting an opportunity in the women's division? That'd be pretty fantastic for them, but we'll see once we get to that part of NXT. Referee rings the bell. Here we go. Ethan Page, Andre Chase, collar elbow tie-up. A little bit of a feeling out situation right now. And look at Andre Chase getting the upper hand early. Looking at it, I mean, I would think Ethan Page would be the guy that would have probably the strongest physique between both of them, but it's one of those things that you can't judge a superstar on how they look. Well, most of the time, I mean, if you're seeing a big guy like an Femi or an Omos or a Giant, then okay, hey, most of the time they should be getting the upper hand. As Ethan Page and Andre Chase continue to go back and forth here. A little bit of a feeling out process for the NXT champion and leader of Chase U here. Working on that shoulder, Andre Chase from behind. Now going to turn it into a headlock here. Slowing it down a little bit more. Trying to decide what he wants to do. We'll see if Thea Hale becomes a key factor in this matchup. Like we mentioned, Thea Hale defends her NXT North American Championship against JC Jane. We'll see how big of a matchup that will be. It's a big elbow from Ethan Page. And now the All Ego comes out right now as Ethan Page goes to work. And certainly this is not what Andre Chase wants. You do not want confidence building in the NXT champion, Ethan Page. Certainly he will do anything, obviously, to win the matchup. We've seen it so far as the NXT champion. As what a swinging neckbreaker from the champion. And we may not like him as NXT champion, but we have to deal with it. And he's going to stoop low to, do sneak attacks and anything in between. It's going to be a very interesting reign as NXT champion. But Ethan Page is certainly going to have himself a tough test with Santos Escobar. And certainly Escobar looking to have his night as a big-time elbow across the chest of Andre Chase. And certainly, not only is Santos Escobar having an opportunity, but also 2 members of Legado del Fantasma, Angel and Berto, will be challenging the Hardy Boys for the Tag Team Championships there at NXT Deadline as well. So, there's a possibility we see a couple new champions a part of that group. Look at these big stomps right to the midsection, a big old elbow / forearm to the face of Andre Chase. And right now, Chase is in trouble right now Ethan Page has just been one step ahead of him ever since the beginning of this matchup when they had that little bit of a feeling out process between each other. As now All Ego fighting back in him. Big elbow right to the midsection. And now Page with the hard Irish whip in the corner. What does Ethan Page have in store for the University of Chase U? Uh-oh. Oh no, this does not look good. Are we going to see a power slam for the top rope? That has to be it. I don't know why he's not going for the pinfall. He wants to end it for good with Andre Chase. He has him up. Down he goes. Almost like a razor's edge sort of maneuver. Is that enough? 2 and 3. Ethan Page with a statement win tonight here on NXT. And like we said, Andre Chase, he put up a fight briefly, but Ethan Page put down University's own Andre Chase, and now he sets his title defense eyes on NXT Deadline when he faces off with Santos Escobar in the middle of this ring next week at NXT Deadline. Really looking forward to see how Ethan Page deals with Santos Escobar. Big time opportunity for both men on the road to obviously NXT Deadline, but you never know what it looks like to the buildup of NXT Stand and Deliver eventually. There's that 1, 2, and 3.
Here is your winner.
Congratulations to Ethan Page. May not like him, but he gets the job done tonight. We'll see how he fares though against Santos Escobar as we move on to some more action as your NXT North American Champion, but Femi is in action against Joe Hendry. Wait a minute, that's JC Jane! JC Jane, the new #1 contender to the North American Championship in the women's division. JC Jane coming out here and sending a message, it seems. Big time sneak attack. We didn't get the full thing, but coming through the crowd with a kendo stick of all things. And now she's bringing the fight to the women's North American champion. As Thea, oh goodness, tossing her right into that vicious steel post there, I believe that is, on that barricade, as now JC Jane wants to go high risk in a big time flying missile drop kick. Absolutely brutal to see that. And it seems like she may not be done here, ladies and gentlemen. A message being sent as a massive discus forearm strike taking out the champ. Champ does not know what to expect at this moment. And now, oh no, not the kendo stick again. Message being delivered by JC Jane. Fatal influence being taught here tonight. Certain, obviously, JC Jane wanted to be the women's tag team champions with Fallon Henley. Didn't work out in the favor of them, obviously because of Stephanie Vacure and Julia winning it recently. And we're trying to have some tag teams step up to the plate, ladies and gentlemen. But the question is, who will that ever be? We'll figure out more later on. But going back onto this is another forearm strike from JC Jane right to Thea Hill again. Man, this is just absolutely brutal. JC Jane absolutely taking down the competition. Thea Hill may not have long as women's NXT North American champion, as again JC Jane, another forearm strike right to the face, and Fatal Influence may be having a championship very soon, and that might be next week. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for a non-title matchup here in NXT, as it is your NXT North American Champion, Femi. He is in action, taking on Joe Hendry. You say his name and he appears. Big time opportunity for Joe Hendry as he gets his some opportunities here in NXT. Like we've mentioned before, and we haven't really talked about it too much, but there is a little bit of a partnership brewing between NXT and TNA. We don't know all the details right now, but I'm being told over the coming weeks and months you will start to see that. But Joe Hendry is officially signed, though, from TNA to NXT, coming from TNA officially. But certainly you will be seeing over maybe the coming weeks and months, you'll see Adam Pearce address that situation. But welcome Joe Hendry, ladies and gentlemen, to NXT. Gets a big time opportunity against Femi tonight in a non-title matchup. And maybe, just maybe, Joe Hendry could get an opportunity for that North American Championship in the future if Femi is still champion out of Deadline. Because right now, Femi will be defending that NXT North American Championship against Javion Evans in a big-time matchup one-on-one there at NXT Deadline. And now we wait for Mr. Joe Hendry to make his way down to this very ring. Big-time opportunity for this man. He's one of those superstars that had the scratch and claw all over the independent scene, and he's finally getting an opportunity on a big stage like WWE. And there he is. Joe Hendry is live here tonight. Certainly a match that doesn't certainly favor him, but you can honestly say Femi has struggled at times as NXT North American Champion, but when it comes to being actually defending it, he's actually done pretty well. So we'll see how he fares when it comes down to it. And certainly tonight we've already seen one big matchup with Ethan Page walking out victorious. You're going to have this matchup, and then up next is a big-time main event matchup. It is a 5-women battle royale. It is the 5 women that are part of that NXT Women's Deadline matchup, where the winner goes to NXT Deadline to face off with the Women's World Champion of NXT. So we're going to see a battle royal later on tonight in your main event. Referee rings the bell. Here we go. Let's see how Femi can deal with the fan favorite Joe Hendry tonight. Can he deal with this big time social media megastar essentially? People love his catchy song, and he's not bad in the middle of the ring. So we'll see if it translates into a WWE ring. But Femi could give a damn about that. All he cares about is mauling his opponent in the middle of the ring, even though, like we've said before, he has struggled at times for sure. The big-time flying uppercut just decimating Joe Hendry. And maybe tonight's the night that Femi, flips that switch. That switch that, he's been lacking maybe that couple months, losing to these guys that are certainly smaller than him and not as strong as them, but they certainly use their strength, I wouldn't say strength, but they use their speed to get in the head of Mr. Femi, and it works out in their favor for the most part. Is now Joe Hendry with a back suplex, dropping him right in the middle of the ring. Joe Hendry now with the hook of the leg. Are we going to see an upset in the making here? No, just a 1 count. Joe Hendry has to stay on Femi, though. You cannot allow the big man to scratch and claw and keep himself in this matchup. As a big back body drop, down goes the champion. And Hendry now talking a little bit of trash, saying, hey, come on, get up to your feet. And again, another back body drop. No, it won't be. Big knee right to the tailbone of Femi. And I think for Joe Hendry, the best strategy right now is, since you have him on his back, work on it. Do everything in your power to make sure Femi cannot get up to his feet. But hey, I'm not a professional wrestler. I'm just an announcer for these matches. And I've seen a lot of big-time matches over my time of calling all this professional action. Is Femi with a pump-up powerbomb out of nowhere. Is that enough? 2. No, 2.5. Been doing this over, I believe it's 7.5, almost 8 years, ladies and gentlemen. So my matches over the years, I've seen all sorts of good, bad, and otherwise. As Joe Hendry going for that flying shoulder tackle didn't work out in his favor. And could that be enough to put away Mr. Obafemi? It was very close, but no. Now Hendry has to go back to the drawing board right now. He has to capitalize on the mistake that the big man did. Yes, he connected with that pump-up power bomb, but trying to go for a flying shoulder tackle probably wasn't in the works that Obafemi really needed to do in that situation. As now Joe Hendry with a flying uppercut in the corner. Pinfall opportunity, hook of the leg. Referee is there once again to... Wait, no! His hand was on the rope. The hand was on the rope. Joe Hendry walks out victorious. And now look at Hendry. Hendry bringing the fight. Hendry a little pissed off. I don't know. It's a little bit of a different side of Joe Hendry. He wants to send a message to Obafemi, ladies and gentlemen. And do you blame him? Obafemi has, done everything in his power to decimate his opponents. And Joe Hendry just walked out victorious, ladies and gentlemen, in controversial fashion, but Hendry wants to send a message to Obafemi. Do you blame him? The NXT roster wouldn't blame him. Here you go, Hendry. Oh, goodness. And he puts Obafemi through the damn table. And oh no, it's the Nigerian nightmare. Uh-oh, no, my goodness, Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry was essentially celebrating what he just did, taking out Obafemi, ladies and gentlemen. But now you have the Nigerian nightmare, Omos. It looks like those bits and pieces of that table were gone for good, ladies and gentlemen. But Omos up here to pick up the scraps of Joe Hendry. Unfortunately, Obafemi got taken out, and now Omos is looking to pick up where Obafemi left off. Yes, there is controversial. Obviously, Obafemi, the North American champion, should have been at least given another chance. But again, just brutality at its just, I wouldn't say finest, but it's absolutely brutal what we're seeing right now. Omos is taking it to freaking Joe Hendry. Omos is not playing around. No. What is the big man thinking? Not on the steel chair. Not on the steel chair though, right? No, my goodness, right on the steel chair that's already been battled and bruised. But Joe Hendry, he's getting up to his feet. How is this young man getting up to his feet? I think this is might be career suicide for Joe Hendry as he gets one-armed power bombed right there. And he's telling him to get up to his feet one more time. Joe Hendry, though, again stirring up to his feet here. I don't know why, but Omos absolutely destroying Joe Hendry. And I can only imagine what that is going to lead for Joe Hendry. Yes, he gets the win, but at what cost? But look at this. Joe Hendry stirring up to his feet. Oh, and Omos isn't too happy about it. And Joe Hendry, he's acting like he's done something big. This might lead to something here in NXT. I don't know where this is going to end up leading, but there's Javion Evans. Javion Evans, he's here. He's going to be going one-on-one with Obafemi coming up next week. But look at Obafemi. Mr. Javion Evans is trying to do everything in his power to take down Omos, but it's like a pretty hard if you can't tell. He's like, oh, maybe not. Maybe not. But no, oh no, Omos. Oh goodness. Just when Javion Evans was trying to get the upper hand after obviously what we just saw with Joe Hendry being attacked by Omos, but back and forth you go. Again, another drop kick trying to take down the big man, but it was just not working out in the favor. Oh my goodness, just one chop at a time, one uppercut at a time, and it just certainly doesn't work out in his favor. Gonna go for it once again. Oh no, there you go, Evans. And now again, another drop kick, misses out this time, and now another one. It is certainly a beast versus someone else. But look at that. That spinning slam there out of nowhere from Javion Evans. It finally recorded it. Finally. It took a little bit of time, but Javion Evans was finally able to hit that almost like a tilt-a-whirl slam of sorts. And just like that, once again, this young OG may take over NXT. And if I'm Adam Pearce, I think I might have a match set up for next week. If I'm Adam Pearce, I might make it official tonight. But hey, I'm not Adam Pearce though, ladies and gentlemen. Javion Evans taking out Omos here once again. Another spinning cutter. Another spinning cutter out here as Evans lays out the Nigerian Giant. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it has already been one hectic night, and we're going to end it on certainly one hectic battle royal, as these 5 women will be a part of that women's NXT Deadline Iron Survivor matchup, where the winner will go on to face off with either Tiffany Stratton or Roxanne at NXT Stand and Deliver. That's going to be an absolutely massive opportunity for all 5 of these women. Could it be any of the women's tag team champions here on NXT? Could it be Stephanie Vacure? Could it be Julia? Also, Alba Fire, big opportunity for her breakout moment. Obviously, she's won the tag team championships with former NXT superstar and WWE superstar Isla Dawn. So certainly she has some championship pedigree here in NXT. And certainly Lash Legend, a breakout moment very well could be coming her way in that very matchup. And then certainly you can't take out any possible, I guess obviously possibilities are slim, but you cannot count out Kalani Jordan. Big time opportunity for her, but like what we're all saying, all of these women, it could be that breakout moment from being barely featured here in NXT or on the main roster of sorts to getting that moment, becoming NXT champion possibly on NXT's grandest stage and leading the future. As here comes Lash Legend herself, formerly with Metaphor, I believe is what their group was called, but certainly you have Noam Dar still on the brand. Other 2 are no longer here, but certainly it just leaves more time for Lash Legend to develop and not be certainly in the tag team division of sorts. It puts all the pressure on her, and that certainly is not a bad thing. Certainly she has the look, she has that powerhouse potential that we've seen here in WWE. So like we said, we cannot count out Lash Legend as well. But certainly in a match like the Iron Survivor matchup, ladies and gentlemen, it is a match that is long, it is grueling, it is a match that you have to have eyes behind your head the whole entire time. So hey, you could pick up a pinfall in the matchup, and then all of a sudden Kalani Jordan comes out of nowhere, rolls you up for a quick 1, 2, 3, and all of a sudden they are on the board. So certainly it's certainly something that they have to take into account. But certainly I'm sure they got plenty of time to, let's honestly say, go through it, strategize, really decide, who am I going to go after? Am I going to go after Lash Legend? Or, maybe I let these women go at it for a quick second, and then I roll in the ring and hit you with a quick roll-up to get on the board. It really depends, but like I've said before, it's a long match, and it certainly is going to change the future of NXT for the foreseeable future. And like we said, it's either going to be Roxanne or Tiffany Stratton, 2 women that have been in here in NXT for quite a long time. Tiffany Stratton has made her career here in NXT ever since debuting here in NXT. Roxanne has been a multi-time champion, not only from NXT Women's Champion, but NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. So obviously Roxanne knows how to get the job done as well. as here comes one half of the women's tag team champions, Julia, making her way down to the ring. Certainly debuting at a pay-per-view and walking out with those tag team championships. You couldn't ask for a better thing for Julia and Stephanie Vacure. But certainly, the question is, obviously they didn't come to WWE just to be tag team champions, and I've said it before on NXT. Certainly they're going to have their eyes on winning the whole big thing. So could you imagine a Roxanne versus a Julia, or a Julia versus a Tiffany Stratton, or a Stephanie Vacure and either Roxanne or Tiffany? But there's so many big time moments that could be coming out of that big time Iron Survivor matchup, and I cannot wait to see it. There's so much potential coming out, and especially on the men's side. There's certainly some of those guys, if not most of them, are looking to make their point across. Certainly Ethan Page or Santos Escobar walking out with the NXT Championship. Probably looking forward to seeing who exactly they're going to be main eventing NXT with. As now here comes the other side of the women's tag team division, Stephanie Vacure. Certainly this woman, a lot of these journalists and others are saying that she is the future of this business, the future of WWE. They believe that she very well could be the women's world champion on Monday Night Raw, or the women's champion on SmackDown. And same thing for Julia. But the question is, though, when do they get that opportunity? Obviously, they just joined the WWE, but right now they're in NXT. They're looking to take over this gracious wrestling ring one day at a time, and certainly it is right now in the tag team division. I mean, she has the look. We've already seen what she brings in the ring with Julia, so certainly a lot to take in. As the Battle Royal has officially started, obviously, only way to win this Battle Royal is throwing your opponent over the top rope, and ultimately we reach one superstar that will be the winner of this matchup. And for next week's Super Show, ladies and gentlemen, I do have some matches I can announce for you. Coming up next week on that Super Show, you're going to see Javion Evans and Joe Hendry team up after what we just saw to take on the team of Omos and Oba Femi. Also, the Hardy Boys, your NXT Tag Team Champions, are in action as they will be teaming up with NXT Champion Ethan Page. Certainly, that will be something to look at, as Lash Legend just took out Kalani Jordan. But Hardy Boys and Ethan Page take on Legado del Fantasma. Next week, a big-time matchup. Roxanne takes on Stephanie Vacure. Tiffany Stratton versus Julia. Two big-time women's matches there, as well as a triple threat matchup between three gentlemen that will be a part of that Iron Survivor matchup for the men's side, as it will be Dragon Lee versus Wesley versus Grayson Waller. So certainly NXT, that Super Show is going to be looking off the charts. So make sure you guys stay tuned. It's going to be one hell of a night, and can't wait to see how those matches are going to go. You got the two women's matches. That is possibly a preview of NXT Stand and Deliver. So just really massive matches coming from top to bottom. Being told Thea Hale is being checked out right now, ladies and gentlemen. She is being taken to the hospital just for a routine check after what happened with those brutal forearm strikes multiple times to the face. But besides that, they're believing it's just going to be bruises and some contusions to the head area, but certainly should be okay to defend that NXT North American Championship live there at NXT Deadline. Now Julia from behind here, gonna look to take out Lash Legend, and she does. And now we're down to three: Alba Fire, Julia, and Stephanie Vacure. Got the tag team champions against one lady that has been a former tag team champion here in NXT. Big question here, does the women tag team champions, do they work together here? And it looks like that answer is going to be no. Uh-oh, Julia trying to eliminate Stephanie Valkyrie, her tag team partner. Is she about to eliminate Stephanie Valkyrie? Here we go, Julia. Big time opportunity. Is she going to do it? Does she have enough strength? No, Stephanie Valkyrie with a big punch to the face to keep herself in this matchup. A forearm strike there from Alba Fire taking down her. And no, over the top, trying to eliminate her. And yes, Alba Fire's eliminated. And now you are down to 2. A little maybe preview of the Royal Rumble as well, obviously. As down goes Stephanie Valkyrie with a big time maneuver from Julia. And it's going to be these two are going to be going at it inside of that NXT Women's Iron Survivor matchup. So certainly these two women have to be ready to go at it. No hurt feelings. Just two of the best women in WWE, in NXT. As Julia now with the underhook over the head suplex down in the middle of that ring. What a moment from Julia taking down Stephanie Valkyrie. Is that going to be enough to eliminate her? Julia misses the spear. Big time opportunity. Going for the forearm strike. Is she going to eliminate her? Nope, she brings her back in. Big time suplex back in the middle of the ring. If I'm Julia, I would have kept punching her. Tried to see if I could eliminate her. But she believes that she has to go to the well a couple more times here, it looks like. And uh-oh, now Julia has her. Is she going to be able to eliminate her tag team partner? Stephanie Valkyrie holding on for dear life. Can Stephanie do it? Stephanie's trying. And she's fighting. And she does somehow, some way. Stephanie Valkyrie is just able to continue to fight, scratch and claw. And now Stephanie Valkyrie with a toe tap taking down Miss Julia. And now going to work on the legs here. That left leg, that left ankle. Why not? Going to do anything in your power to make sure that they cannot get up to their feet and make it an easy elimination of sorts. And oh no, an armbar. Obviously there is no submissions in this battle royal, but hey, if you're able to, I don't know, essentially hurt your opponent enough to where it hurts to try to pick up someone and they can't fully do it, I mean, do what you gotta do, I suppose. As Julia fighting back, big elbows from the midsection here. Here comes Julia, Irish whip off the ropes. Oh my goodness, what a big forearm strike. And now Julia gonna go to the corner. What is she thinking to do it about to her tag team partner? No, Stephanie Valkyrie had it well scouted and now connects with a jawbreaker. And just like that, Valkyrie gets herself back in this battle royal. Big time opportunity for Stephanie Valkyrie. Can she do it? Can she knock off Julia? Now from the top turnbuckle, Stephanie Valkyrie. Oh my goodness, what a maneuver. Corkscrew, I believe, from the top rope. Or spiral tap, whatever you want to necessarily call it. Highly effective, to say the least. There's a double knees right there in the bottom. And this might be Stephanie Valkyrie's match to win right now. So big chops, punches, forearms, elbows, strikes, you can name it. She is bringing the fight to Julia. And now Stephanie Valkyrie again. Here we go. Another spiral tap again. I don't think Julia can get out of this. She is down and out. Stephanie Valkyrie, all you have to do is grab her and toss her over. Right now, I think she's given up a little bit too much time to Julia to really recuperate, possibly. And now, here we go. Julia fighting back in it after eating two high-risk maneuvers. Julia might be able to eliminate Stephanie. Oh, goodness, what a boot. A big boot out of nowhere takes down Stephanie Valkyrie. And I believe a big cut on the forehead at least. Oh no, that's on the forehead. It's on the right side of her face. And she might be getting eliminated. Julia eliminates Stephanie Valkyrie. Big win for Julia tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Stephanie Valkyrie, it seemed like she had the match won, taking a little bit too much time, and ultimately it hurts her. because ultimately you get Julia eliminating Stephanie Vacure, and just like that, walks out victorious, gets some momentum heading in to next week's Super Show, where Julia will be in action taking on Tiffany Stratton, the NXT Women's Champion. Stephanie Vacure takes on challenger Roxanne. Two big-time women's matches. Certainly, you could honestly say those are probably the two biggest matches on the card, and that's saying something with how talented the men's division can be at times. But look at that, just multiple times to Julia, and it just was not enough, because obviously in the matchup you have to throw them over the top. Maybe, just maybe, in this matchup, if it was pinfall or submission, maybe Stephanie wins that, but you can ask what else all the days you want. But ultimately, you see Julia right here eliminate her tag team partner, and Stephanie Vacure goes home not happy, but her tag team partner does. Big win for Julia, one half of the women's tag team champions. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to NXT tonight, and we'll see you on Friday Night SmackDown.